Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. So we're going to go over a frigate build here that is one of my favorites so far. This was shared to me by the Discord leader over here at Banished Souls. So if you're looking for great builds, make sure you check out Why So Serious. We're going to go over this thing real quick. I've done a few tweaks on this, kind of personalize it, but I'm telling you, I am definitely loving this frigate build. So weapons, I've got the Thunder Dragon here on the front, and using the firepower and two tearing and a siege for the front of this thing. Works really nice against pretty much anything you want to come against. Plus, if you need to take out towers, you've got that siege perk on there as well. So with our broadsides, I'm running Rama's Legacy. These have a highly destructive yield when hitting multiple torpedoes. If they all hit at the same time, you're going to really get some extra bonuses on this thing. We're looking at a damage of 2510. I've noticed it as high as 12 and 13,000 per strike on these things. You have that cataclysmic perk on here, flooding 3, arming. Rupturing is what we've added, and 2 amplified floodings as well to really boost this thing in. It does a great job, so I'm running that on both of my broadsides, and on the rear I went ahead and put the Rama's Legacy on it as well, and we're running that ruptured amplified flooding, and I ended up with a roar perk. I would have preferred another amplified flooding, but I ran out of rolls, so we may roll another one up later. This works pretty good where it does actually add that taunted perk against those bosses on occasion. And running the Storm Vigil, which again adds extra flooding on here, guys. So Torrent Flooding 3 went ahead and added Incendiary, Tearing, and another Tearing perk on here. The reason I added those is to just really help with the front cannon. When I'm dealing with certain bosses and stuff, it's nice to just take those cells out and be able to give those lightning strikes when they get too close. Because as they get close with a torpedo, obviously you have an arming range where you get that effective smack, or it's going to hit really low. So that's what we're running here on the sides. With the armor, I am currently running the Nova Arma. Again, I've been running a lot of bosses with this thing. I am really enjoying it as far as when them small ships come in and they start to hit, just brace up. You're going to do that explosive damage in a 100-meter radius. That's 3,500. That's a pretty sweet little deal. Now with our furnitures, I am running Secret Cache. This allows me to get those nice little turning abilities. As far as all that twitch crap, it kind of helps level some of it out. You still notice some of it, but it gets rid of some of it. And like I say, I like to tweak stuff just a little bit. That's one of the things I like to throw in here. But tuning station, just increases secondary damage of the torpedoes by 20%, increasing projectile speed as well, and restores 10% crew stamina. The Huback tuning rack, increasing maximum range of a torpedo by 14%. Reducing arming distance for torpedo weapons by 25%, and increasing projectile speed of the torpedoes by 10%. Ramrod Workshop. This works great with anything of broadside, decreasing reload time of broadside weapons by 7%, and increasing secondary damage dealt by the broadside weapons by 7%. Again, Lagrange barrels, increasing charge rate of torn cell status, effect on the target by 8%, and increasing duration of the torn cell status, effect by 8%. And then that debris locker, increasing the charge rate of flooded status effect on enemy targets already affected by torn cell status, affected by 50%, increasing charge rate of torn cell status effect on a target by 16%. I went ahead and added those extra things. One, it helps with that flooded, but it also helps with those torn cells, because that really works with all of the weaponry that I've got on this thing. So like I say, you can tweak your build how you like it. That's what I'm currently running on this thing. Definitely enjoying it. Cosmetics are dealer's choice. And now let us go, and we're going to see if we can find us a boss here. There's one. Who we got here? Vikram. That'll be a good one. So rather than put up a bunch of fancy little stats and stuff, let's go show you what she'll do. Great way to farm out SP, pieces of 8, infamy, in any of the currencies and point systems that you're currently needing. You can run this build. You could probably run these on a schooner as well and really get some nice damage. But currently, like I said, I've really been enjoying my frigate. Been waiting a long time for large ships, obviously, over a year and a half now. So it's just really nice to get those nice effects. Now he does have some nice weak spots down below his ship. I believe we've just about taken them all out. We say we just give him some front cannon action here. Let's get turned around here. Assume we don't destroy him too quick. He's dead. Alright. Let's see if we can find us another one. Like I said, it's pretty quick. You can pretty much just go through and run this thing, like just smoke through all of the events in here and really grind out some pieces of 8. All of your points, you're going to be able to take out convoys, whether it's the new convoys, these Manic Moonshiner fleets. You can grind through these pretty quick. You could also run a lot of hostiles. If you get a hostile takeover, you can run these in there because, like I say, with that front weapon, you could potentially even switch one of those dragon demis on the back with that same build, having siege perk, which probably help you out on some of the stuff, because I hardly ever use that rear anyway with this build. But and that would actually help you with your hostiles a little bit more, taking out those towers. So that's something you could look at. Of course, defenses, manufacturing defenses, these are fantastic. Let's go ahead and jump in there on this one too. Okay, so unfortunately I must have had some kind of a wanted level, or not a wanted level, but a aggro on me still. So we're going to see how much time we got to get over there. 18 minutes, okay. Let us see about doing the fast travel. We're going to be able to cancel this. I don't see where I've got a... There we go. Now we can fast travel. You do run a risk of some events not letting you rejoin, so that was kind of nice to be able to rejoin that. I wasn't sure it was going to let me do that, so that was kind of a risk. But alright, so let's run this defense here. See how she does with this. Say that being Vikram's probably the toughest boss you're going to run across in here. I mean, all of them you're going to melt through them pretty quick. Clearing the server out in a few minutes, you're going to find yourself waiting for events to spawn up. Okay. Here we go. Not entirely sure which side these guys are going to approach from. Looks like they're coming in from the rear. This is kind of an oddball defense area here with all these little islands in the way. You'll find yourself waiting on waves, by the way, waiting for ships to come in on these things. But this is another great way to get that SP, your smuggler points that you're going to use to get your smuggler tokens. You're also going to gain infamy. You're also going to get those guild marks as well. You'll be able to pick up some of those gilded boxes. And, of course, pieces of 8. This is really, these are your hostile takeovers. And, of course, your defenses are a fantastic way to build up your perks. So that's what I recommend folks use. Plunders, any kind of takeover type stuff is where you're really going to be at, wanting to get finished with your pass. And we're within that range, just a little closer. And we'll kick it back around to the back here and take him out with the rear. And waiting on that next wave. I just realized it looks like they loaded me in wave 1 here, or tier 1. Doesn't matter if you're tier 1 or tier 2, this thing just melts through everything. I'm not going to bother making another video of it. I'm not sure what's going on here lately. Sometimes you'll be in tier 2, when you rejoin, it throws you in here. I'm also still having some issues with the Pinnacle store. I don't know if anybody else has had any issues with that. Definitely comment in below. I had some success early on about switching to a Xbox only server, you know, by turning off my crossplay, and it helped a couple times where I could spend my smuggler points. But here it seems like now I'm unable to, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Certain things you can. It seems like it's specifically the Thunder Dragon cannons seem to be the item that the rotative store faults out on. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. Been putting in a lot of the bug reports with Ubisoft, but it sounds like a lot of folks have actually been dealing with this since last week, so I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm hoping to hear something from them hopefully in the next few days, or at least see something in the patch notes coming Tuesday. But I've definitely been enjoying the game. I'm looking forward to the faction wars. Feels like we're finally kind of getting a complete, you know, picture for our fleets and things, being able to get the larger ships, being able to get better weapons even. Seeing some of our weapons get tweaked where some of them aren't quite so OP, but we're bringing some of the other weapons up into our, you know, a higher standard where, you know, it kind of diversifies what we're using in the game a little bit better, kind of leveling some things out. I am definitely liking some of the improvements. You know, like everybody else, there's some things I would still like to see happen. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty nice experience. Definitely looking for that new content, though, at this point. You know, right now I am mostly just grinding out for those extra cannons is really what I'm looking at. But there's also some chests in there that we're going to look at here in a minute when we're finished with this, to be able to pick up those nice ascension chests that have a lot of auxiliary weapons and things like that you could potentially get. So for those of you looking for like the Eye of Heaven and stuff, you will be able to have a chance of picking those up within that pass system through the Pinnacle store. Now, while you can't buy it straight out for that particular one, also be watching at Blackwood. I know last season he was getting a lot of that stuff in, and if you're saving up your guild marks for the things that matter, not blowing it on silver chest, then you're going to be great. Now, again, don't know if silver chests are going to be able to double up on that double silver weekend coming up. We are still unsure about that. Not heard anything official that you can, but I've not heard that it won't. So that's going to be on the 9th of August, by the way. So we'll have to wait and see. I am setting a lot of silver chests back, which I usually just throw them in the warehouse anyway and use it when I need it. So that'll be something to check out. I don't recommend going and buying a bunch of boxes, though. Just earn them by sinking ships and sinking convoys and doing these types of events, and you're really going to knock that stuff out. So like I say, you're going to find yourself waiting on the wave. So we're like wave 4 or 5 with still almost 3 minutes left in this wave, so hopefully they'll send some more ships in real quick. Otherwise we're going to be sitting here kind of bored. It may be just a little bit too OP on this build, guys, I mean, honestly, but I don't believe so. That's because we're in tier 1. But like I say, even in world tier 2, this thing just disintegrates through it. Okay, so they went ahead and bumped us on to wave 5. Sweet. You're going to be able to knock through this stuff pretty quick. Like I say, you can use this build. Just it takes a little bit to chew through with just one front cannon, you know, your front cannons on this thing. But you can still chew through those fortifications and stuff in your takeovers if you decide you want to use this on that. But I would recommend maybe putting another cannon on the back, whether it's bombards or I would just use this dragon demon cannon. I mean, it's been pretty sweet. I don't know why we bothered with boarding. He just never got anything worth picking up. Man, it just melts these armored ships. And we might get one more wave here. Let's see. About a minute and a half, so yeah, we might still get another wave. Here it comes. I wasn't originally sold on this storm vigil, but it's kind of starting to grow on me. It really is, for the sheer fact that it does a great job of charging up those torn sails perks. So when you do get that shot in there with that front weapon, you're getting a torn sail. So this is pretty nice for that. So if you're using a lot of torn sail perks on weapons such as these demi cannons, then yeah, this thing is definitely, they definitely knew what they was doing when they released these two together. So. Got them spreading out a little bit here on me. Take a shot. Take a shot. There we go. It helps if you actually aim before you waste your shot there. Alrighty. And that, guys, is the nice little frigate torpedo build. I'm loving this thing. Like I say, tweaked a few things out on it, make it my own. Always kind of, if there's some things you want to play with you on your ship, definitely give it a try. I do recommend the secret cache, man. Give it a try, throw it on your ship. Now, it's not going to do anything to give you any extra slots. That seems to be one thing with all of the ships. We get the increased weight with this ship, but weight has never been the problem with the ships. It's always been the sheer amount of slots, and only having 50 has become kind of a problem. So hopefully they will address that here in the days ahead. I know for me, I would love to see where I can carry more things, because that is essentially what ends up sending me back to port, is the fact that my cargo hold fills up again, not because I run out of weight, just I run out of room, which is kind of weird how that works out. Okay, loading in here. Alright guys, so one final tip on the way out. If you've managed to complete your helms, and I'm sure I am not the only person out there, just a quick reminder on these helm locations, you can find some really nice items. Check your inventory. There's a few things. I've got a few hundred on, so I decided I wanted to build up my supplies a little bit. So in particular, this one here, the planetary gear sets, I'm down to a couple hundred. Now this picks up at 30 with the ship I've got on there. So once it reaches 30, I can pick those up. It is 1.32 per hour, and I just had it on there for a day, and I've already picked up plenty so far. So we're going to pick up a few hundred of those. I went ahead and queued up a lot of my factories that will produce those upgrade parts. Went ahead and queued those up. Another great way to be able to pull those in. And like I say, where you want to grind, whether it's tier 1 or tier 2, totally up to you. As you see, we got some really great payouts here in tier 1. We've been getting a lot of helm leases. We're going to open up our boxes here and see what we got in these raider caches real quick. I'm not really sure what we're doing with helm leases, if there's going to be some kind of a way to use them in the future for something, or if they're just kind of settings. So right now I've just been hanging on to them. It looks like you can sell them for silver at hawkers and things like that, but you don't get a whole lot of silver for those, so I would not recommend doing that, at least not until we know for sure we're not going to need it for anything. So that's kind of what we're looking at, though, is what are we looking for on some of these things. Now when it comes to the store, the Pinnacle store, I want to show you what this does. And if you look here, I can go and I can buy a chest, no problem. So right here's let's find something, an ascension chest, so we can buy one of these for one, no problem whatsoever. It works. That's great. We got 15 points there. But as soon as I go to buy the Thunder Dragon cannon, rotative store failure. Not sure what's going on with that. Like I say, I'm reporting this in to Ubisoft daily. I've not heard anything back on it. I mean, I've heard nothing back on it. They've not even acknowledged that they've received the bug reports. So I'm not sure what's happening, but if you've had any luck figuring this out, please let me know so I can start buying my cannons. I don't really need the boxes. I mean, I have some cool things here, such as the toolings, weapon chests, your furniture chest. You could potentially get some nice things from this. The Dahakas, Eye of Heavens, different things. But what I really want is Thunder Dragon cannons, and when it fails like that, it collapses the whole store. I can no longer buy anything. I have to back completely out of the game, wait a few minutes so I know I get a different server, and then I can rejoin and then go and fail again at buying a dragon cannon. So I'm not sure what's happening with that, but guys, if you figured it out, let me know. I've tried turning off the matchmaking stuff and all that kind of mess, and it worked a couple times, but it doesn't work every time, and I think it's just some kind of glitch going on. So we'll catch you guys later. Have a wonderful day.